use and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system. Never get shut out again. No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. Pannell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border. And the new Capital OTB mobile app. Wager anytime, any place, anywhere. Download it free from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Good morning and welcome to the Racing Across. I almost went into the handicappers report. I almost went backwards. Racing Across America here on this Friday when my brain is frozen. It's a little nippy back here today, but it is a gorgeous day. Sun is out. It's going to warm up as the day goes along, so a great day of racing here again at Saratoga. We are live on the Saratoga backstretch. The horses have been loving it. Boy, when I came in first thing this morning about 8:30, they were lined up back here on Clare Court. We are live from the backstretch every morning throughout the meet. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com. A couple of minutes, we'll be joined by Don Little from Centennial Farms. They have a stakes entrant in for tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that and much more. Rick Violette will join us as well. He's had a nice meet, nice little winner yesterday. Some horses with some potential. A stakes winner we'll talk about earlier in the meet as well. And then we'll wind things up at the end of the hour with John Signor, the president here at Capital OTB. We'll do a little recap on how the meet has gone for Capital and television up here and whatnot. All of that on this edition of Racing Across America. Let me remind you, of course, tomorrow, the big stakes day. We've talked about that for the past couple of days with Gun Runner and the Spinaway tomorrow. Coming up on Sunday will be the Prioress. Boy, nice little addition to the Grade 2 event for the 3-year-old fillies sprinting. A couple of horses coming in from the Midwest. Student Body off a win at Ellis, a big win at Ellis. Sister Khan off a win at Indiana Grand. Nona Mella with the horse for the course angle for Todd Pletcher. 2 tries over the track, a couple of wins. I think Nona Mella may be the horse to beat, but Vertical Oak comes in for Steve Asmussen. Dawn the Destroyer for Kieran off a sloppy track win up here. Royal Inheritance, 4 wins and 5 starts. Downtown Mama for Linda Rice, 3 for 3 so far. Sunday's Prioress just seems loaded. And then we wind things up on Monday. The hopeful entries are out already. You can pull up the PPs. But this one's loaded too. The 2-year-olds, Grade 1, $350,000. Motivation for Pletcher off the career debut win. Oscar Blues off the career debut win for Kenny McPeak. Forenzy Fire, who won the Sanford last time, for Jason Service. Psychoanalyze in for Brian Lynch off a 3rd in the Sanford. National Flag won the Maiden Breaker last time right up here at Saratoga. Sporting Chance for Wayne Lucas. Give Me a Mint for Dallas Stewart. And Free Drop Billy, who ran a nice second in the Sanford last time for Dale Romans. It could be a nice one as well. A couple of nice stakes on Sunday and Monday to wind things up stake-wise here at Saratoga. But again, of course, tomorrow, the big stakes day. And we'll hit on at least one of those stakes in just a moment. We'll be joined by Don Little from Centennial Farms. They have Rocketry in the Saranac coming up on the stakes card on Saturday. We'll hit on that and much more. Stay tuned. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, kick off this edition of Racing Across America for a Friday morning. Stay with us.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices, to know how to connect the dots? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool, but not the only tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. These too are important tools, and you'll find them all right here at Capital OTB. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
With more than 60 Easy Bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all Easy Bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB. We're closer than you think.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Friday morning. We kick things off with Don Little from Centennial Farms. Good morning, Don.
Good morning.
Happy to have you on board. Talk a little the weekend stakes action, some of your other horses as well. You and I were talking just before we went on the air, though, and I've been asking people who participated, the EquestriCon event from a couple of weeks ago. Your thoughts overall? I think there was great buzz in the building and in town. You said you popped around to some of the talks and seminars and whatnot. Your overall feeling on the event?
Well, for a first time out, I thought they did a phenomenal job. One interesting thing that they mentioned to me was that 80 to 90% of the people that went through the door were from out of state.
Oh, that is interesting.
So it was kind of interesting that the new fans or people who had never been to Saratoga, they packaged the deal, if you will. They came to EquestriCon, got to meet some of the industry leaders, listened to some phenomenal panel discussions, and took in Saratoga for the first time. So it worked. I thought it worked out really, really well.
Yeah, looking forward to maybe tweak things up a little bit next year and see how it works out. But I thought for year one it went very, very well.
They should be proud.
Let's talk a little bit about Centennial Farms. You go down the list of horses you guys have had: Wicked Strong, Corinthian, King Cougat, Groundstorm, Colonial Affair, Horse Unified. Just very recently announced as retired, but I pulled up the Gulfstream Park Sprint Championship from earlier this year. Unified's going to be the number one horse. Notable because running second, number 6, a little horse called Mind Your Biscuits. Unified was a very good horse for you guys. Won the Bayshore, won the Peter Pan, and this Gulfstream Park Sprint Stake before running second in the Carter. And as I say, recently retired. But boy, this was a nice runner for you guys.
Yeah, he was very exciting, and we knew it right from the beginning when he was at the farm and when he got to Jimmy in the beginning. He showed just a ton of talent, ton of class, effortless speed. When he broke his maiden at Gulfstream, and I think it was January of his 3-year-old year, we knew he'd put in a big effort, but to win the way he did first time out and get a 99 buyer was quite impressive, and we definitely knew we had something then.
Yeah, it was, again, a very nice horse, and again, retired. What's the game plan in retirement?
Well, he's standing at Lane's End, who we bought him from initially, and we couldn't be happier and proud of his efforts on the racetrack, and we're sure that Lane's End's reputation, and having him stand there will be a great thing going forward. And I think anybody that wants to put a little speed in the mare, who else do you go to?
Yeah, he was very impressive in a short career, but kind of a brilliant career as well. So congratulations on him. Yeah. I mentioned some of the other ones. Talk about some of your favorites over the years. I'm assuming you get a classic win with a horse like Colonial Affair. That's got to bring back a lot of memories.
Well, I mean, I can always picture it, and we have it in a new video that we just put out of my father holding the Belmont Trophy with his hair everywhere. And, I had just been sort of joined Centennial after my career in playing professional polo, and it was a nice way to start it off, I guess you could say. And a lot of exciting horses. Rubiano to come along. He was a fantastic sprinter. But I have to say, Wicked Strong was probably, to me, one of the most influential horses we've had. It was a success financially, but the way it impacted people around the country, I mean, you couldn't have written it better. I mean, you had the name of the horse after the marathon bombing, donating some proceeds of his purses to the one fund, which equated to around $45,000. Suffolk Downs had its largest attendance at a Kentucky Derby in 10 years, and 70% of the wager was on Wicked Strong. So, it brought some recognition from racing to the New England, who was suffering a little bit with Suffolk Downs, and it was just an exciting road to do. So.
Talk a little bit about the philosophy behind Centennial Farms, acquiring horses, and what your game plan is.
Well, the game plan is to, like a lot of people, but we're specifically looking for horses that have a deep female pedigree, that if they are successful on the racetrack, many of the stud farms around the country and around the world, would be interested in standing him at stud after their racing career. As an example, since we've been in business since 1989, we've placed 13 stallions throughout the world after our program. So we think we're doing the right thing. We've proven we've done the right thing. We're going to continue it. Most of that success goes to Dr. Steve Carr, who selects the horses for us. Paula Parsons. And the people involved with Centennial are all horse people. They grew up riding horses themselves. They competed in different horse venues: polo, show jumping, cross country, steeplechase, jockeys themselves. Jimmy played polo. I played polo against Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy's dad and my dad played polo against and with each other. So I mean, it's a neat group. We have a philosophy to get the classic type horses, and we've been able to do that.
People are interested. If people are interested, you have a website, and I'm sure people can contact you. And I say it whenever I have some of the partnership syndicate type people in here. Always worth getting in touch and doing a little research, because there are different levels, and there's a place for everybody who wants to get involved.
That's the neatest thing about the sport. I mean, you can get in for a small amount, you can get in for a large amount, you can do it on your own, you can do it with a group of people. It's not like a professional sports franchise. I mean, you can have a piece of the action for a fraction of the cost, and diversifying your risk is a very important thing.
Let's jump in and talk a little bit about the weekend. You've got the horse coming up in the Saranac tomorrow, the Grade 3 event, a mile and an eighth on the grass. While we talk, going to pull up a win earlier in the meet for Rocketry. This is going to be right at the beginning of the meet, July 28th. Rocketry is going to be the number 8 horse in here. Win by a chart margin of 1.5. So coming off of that race, jumps into the stakes race on the weekend. A little salty little stakes race in here with the first 2 finishers coming out of the Hall of Fame, Bricks and Mortar and Yoshida. The Voodoo Song, who's trying for win number 4 at the meet for Linda Rice. But your horse coming off of this win, I think, comes in moving in the right direction. What are your thoughts on Rocketry tomorrow?
Well, he's training well. He's actually put on about 50 pounds since this last race, and he's getting a little bit of aura about himself and confidence just around the barn. The distance initially was a little bit of a concern, because his closing, eighth of a mile is very impressive in a longer distance race, but. Jose said he can manage him pretty well, have him up a little bit earlier in the race, and the one thing about him is he does what you ask of him. I remember last year he was up here as a 2-year-old, and it only seems like yesterday he was a little narrow thing, and little kid, so to speak, but he's really come into himself, and he deserves a shot. And I think, looking at his buyers, they're almost a mirror image of Brooks and Mortar, and they've never run against each other, so it'll be an interesting test, and we want to give them a chance.
Yeah, I think you guys are absolutely live in there, and what is a salty little race, but
yeah, I think it is.
Give you a good shot, and good luck tomorrow. Also wanted to pull up, we talked about some of your nicer horses. I wanted to pull up just from memory lane, going back to the Met Mile. I mean, have a horse like this, it's got to be great too. You win. It's not just a Grade 1. This is one of the better Grade 1s in the country when you can win the Grade 1 Met Mile. Number 8 is going to be Corinthian here, going back to the 2007 Met Mile. But then you won Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile with this horse too. Just give us some memories of Corinthian.
Well, I mean, he was quite a difficult horse actually, in around the barn, and Jimmy's had some good stories to tell. I remember one time before the Gulfstream Park Handicap when he breezed him 7 furlongs and figured it was time to get him used to the pony again, and sure enough, as soon as Jimmy was on the pony at the time, and Corinthian wheeled and knocked Jimmy off the pony and sent the pony back to the barn by itself. But he was, when he was on his game, he had a lot of talent. And I remember the day before the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile when it was pouring rain, and watched him do his little breeze, gallop out and down the lane like Jimmy likes to do, and he was just so impressive on the wet surface. But Gainesway and Mr. Beck was very happy to put in the little extra bonus after that race, and unfortunately he didn't quite hit as a stallion, but he was sure as exciting as a racehorse.
Yeah.
Very successful.
Like I say, you can get the Met Mile in there in a Breeders' Cup race. It's got to be very.
And of course,
special.
the Met Mile, Jimmy just beat his dad. His dad's horse was coming up very close behind, and Jimmy said, "Well, I got Dad on that one." So,
went to the website yesterday, pulled up. You got a couple of horses on your stable roster now that folks can maybe jump into. A Bodemeister colt and a Malibu Moon colt. Talk a little bit about the up and comers.
Well, again, they fit the program. They have a deep pedigree, both of them. Interestingly enough, since Wicked Strong has been at Spendthrift, we've been trying to do a little something with them, and we hope it's going to be successful. But we landed on the same horse, and luckily we talked a little bit about it beforehand, and we're doing a little 50-50 partnership with them and this horse on the Malibu Moon. And the Bodemeister in particular is very attractive. I mean, Memories of Silver is one of the best fillies that Darby Dan ever owned. We're thrilled to have him. He really has that look about him, look of Eagles as we like to call it. And we're excited to have him join the roster and look forward to getting 3 or 4 more in Keeneland.
You and I were talking before we went on the air. Limited number of starters up here at Saratoga, but they've done very well. 100% in the money, but you're looking for a big fall, maybe downstate.
Yeah, we have. We should have by the end of this fall, another 7 2-year-olds coming to Jimmy. We have probably 3 or 4 that will make a start as a 2-year-olds, and then the others, earlier they're 3-year-old year. But typically we buy 6 to 8 yearlings, 2-year-olds every year. We feel that's a good number. We want to keep it small so the people involved are they're the owners, and we want them to give them every opportunity to participate at whatever level they wish.
Are there any sales you prefer over the others?
Actually, the most of the horses we've had success with have come out of this sale. This recently ended, the Fasig-Tipton. Wicked Strong was out of Keeneland, but I think we've had 7 or 8 Grade 1 winners out of the Fasig-Tipton sale.
Nice. You and I were also talking before we went on the air, and I wanted to touch on this a little bit because Virginia has gone through some tough times, as did Maryland for a while. That whole Mid-Atlantic region. Maryland has bounced back now, but Virginia seems to potentially be on a little bounce back as well. You're talking about the new program.
Well, they just put into place, it was effective July 1st of this year, that beginning with foals of 2016, and if horses are what they call residents, take residence in Virginia, so all of the yearlings that we buy this year are eligible for that, and they maintain residence in the state of Virginia, they are then eligible for a 25% bonus of all the Mid-Atlantic racetracks, plus New Jersey and New York included, with a cap of $10,000. So, throw a little $10,000 on top of every win is not a bad way to offset some expenses. And we've actually had a couple people call us already, if we had any extra stalls at the farm, to to bring horses in
there you
there.
go.
So I mean, it's obviously being noticed, and we're proud to say we've been in Middleburg since day one, and it's a great horse country and train over Paul Mellon's original training facility.
Yeah, easy to root for that whole Mid-Atlantic region to bounce back the way it has a little bit. And Virginia certainly has a great racehorse history, and so we're rooting for them down there. Also, before we let you go, wanted to let you touch on the aftercare issue a little bit. You were talking before we went on the air on that topic as well, and that's kind of been a hot-button issue with the racing industry for the past few years, and the racing industry is kind of now really embracing things, but you guys are doing something as well.
Well, it goes back to, again, the people involved in Centennial and the partnerships and the team itself being horse people, horse backgrounds. So through our network, just of clients ourselves, we actually have now a list of 5 people that are waiting for any horses that Centennial's retiring from racing to go into show jumping or things of that sort, fox hunting in particular at Middleburg. And it's interesting. We just got a note from a horse by the name of Salute the Chief that was a congrats colt, just won reserve champion at hits rated horse show in Culpeper, Virginia. We have Salisbury Knight, who was competing in the Rolex 3-day event in Kentucky last year. And I actually have one in my hometown, in my home backyard as well. But it's nice to know. We also participate with other Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, all of those as well. But it's nice to have our own little sort of network, if you will, to place these horses that have given so much to us.
Sure, that's great to have the waiting list sitting out there for those second careers. Don, we got to let you go, but certainly wish you a great success this weekend with rocketry going forward in the fall with the 2-year-olds and whatnot. And if folks want more information, they can go to the website and
CentennialFarms.com, and everything's right there. And of course, we're all over social media, and which we're very proud of. And hopefully we
taking
do
some
well
pictures for
Saturday.
social media as we
Susie's
speak.
down there.
So we will look for things to be posted momentarily on that end of things. But Don, again, I appreciate the visit. Good luck this weekend.
Great, thank you very much.
Don Little from Centennial Farms. We'll take a break. When we come back, Rick Violet is in the house. He's had some nice wins. One yesterday. We'll hit on that, and the stakes win in the Shipman a little earlier. We'll hit on all that and much, much more right after this. Stay with us.
Whether you're winding down from a day at the track or gearing up for the night, celebrate summer with live music, fabulous food, and the best happy hour in Saratoga. The Diamond Club at Embassy Suites, where the world meets in Saratoga.
Nighttime thoroughbred racing is back at Capital OTB. Now through Labor Day, Capital OTB will be accepting wagers on nighttime thoroughbred racing from across the country, featuring evening racing from Del Mar and Woodbine, and now it's even easier to be part of the action. Simply log on to CapitalOTBBet.com on all your digital devices, or use our newly designed mobile app. So even when the sun goes down, thoroughbred racing continues at CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
A huge race on the outside, but it's Ferdinand and Alashiba nose and nose to the wire. Good chase coming on the outside. Alashiba going to get there at the rail with Ferdinand. Alashiba has won it by a nose.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Relax with a signature cocktail or one of our world-class wine selections while enjoying indoor or outdoor dining for lunch and dinner. The Diamond Club at the Embassy Suites, winner of the 2016 and 2017 Wine Spectator Award of Excellence.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Always happy to be joined by our next guest, trainer Rick Violette. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning.
Happy to have you on board. We'll talk about some of your winners so far earlier in the meet. You had a nice one yesterday. We'll hit on horse with some nice potential, but some other topics as well. And you and I were talking just as we came out of the break, doing some bio information as I typically do before shows. You had some great comments about a guy you worked with. This was from an article going back a year or so, and unfortunately David Whiteley passed away recently, so I wanted some memories because you had given him a lot of credit for your training methods. You were with him as an assistant for a while. Talk a little bit about David Whiteley.
He was just a very intense, spectacular horseman. He and of course his father, Mr. Whiteley, Frank, they never did anything without a purpose, and there was a method to their madness, from the way you put pins in and put up water buckets, walked around the shed row. Great teachers, and he's certainly a deserving candidate for the Hall of Fame, and a lot of people are quite disappointed that he wasn't inducted. He lifetime 32% win percentage is unheard of, especially at the level that he didn't have claimers, didn't have New York breds. He played at the very high level of the game, and when he was in a race, you needed to beat him. So it's a great loss, and we've missed him for a while.
Yeah, it's again, he passed away recently, but he's certainly a guy worth remembering in the Hall of Fame. He's been nominated a few times. We'll see, because if folks look at his record, it certainly is impressive. An impressive record at Saratoga so far this season. I wanted to go back and take a look at some of the wins we've had so far and have you talk about some of these horses, because I think there's some potential going forward. The fifth race yesterday, it was a state-bred maiden special. Ultimate Enticement. This horse is interesting because it's a New York bred that started the career out at Golden Gate. And then obviously they thought, there's a lot more money in New York, and moved into your barn for the second career start, which was, I think it ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw with Barely Impassable in that start on August 7th. But the horse comes back yesterday, Ultimate Enticement. Number 6 horse here, wins by a chart margin 2 lengths as the 8-5 favorite. Again, this was career start number 3. Pretty nice looking win. And I think this horse has a little bit of a future in the New York bred program.
He really does. I really expected him to be on the lead yesterday, and he broke well. They just outran him a little bit, Jose said, but they were going pretty fast on what wasn't a spectacularly fast strip. And 3/8 pole, I wasn't sure we were going to get a piece of it, and he just was resolute. He's really bred to go a mile and a quarter, mile and a half, maybe even on the turf. But it's nice that he has this dimension that he can take some dirt in the face and still put his head down and run.
Yeah, yesterday was 5.5. So if there's a future going longer or a future on the turf, you've got a lot of options.
Exactly.
All right, also wanted to pull up, and I just wanted to pull this race up, not only to show a nice stakes win at Saratoga, but to talk a little bit about strategy and what you think in situations like this. Going back to August 21st, the Evan Shipman, and I was in here handicapping this morning, and I have to admit, I have to be honest, I went a little bit against you in this race handicapping. I put Papa Shot on top, but then we're in the morning before scratches. Then when the 2 scratches came, I came on later in the day, we have cut-ins, and I said, scratch all that. Yeah. This is now lone speed.
Yeah.
And with the 4-horse field, going to take them all the way around. And I'm guessing you salivated a little bit when it scratched down to 4 and you've got the lone speed like this. It's just catch me if you can.
Certainly the outside horse, Australenka, when he scratched, that was the other. He was, sprinter speed in there for David Jacobson. When he came out, then there was no question that we were going to try to control. And if he had stayed in, if he wanted to take the lead, we would have let him go. But when we got a half and 47 and change, it was going to make it pretty tough for the others behind him, because he's a very, very good horse. But that was kind of a tour de course. That was his best performance.
Yeah, runs off by 11 and a half, and again, he's now banked over $300,000. Slew of triple-digit buyer figures there. So again, a nice New York bred that has a lot of potential. You have options with that one as well.
He stepped up that we might get a little braver going forward. We were actually going to experiment on the turf, looking to see if we would break that 100 threshold and see what kind of horse he was. Well, he did it that day, and he might be deserving of a little bit steeper competition.
I ask trainers a lot when they come in here. We mentioned the buyer figures. Are you a figure guy? Is that a tool in your training toolbox?
It's a tool. I'm not. I don't. I'm not a slave by them. But you like to know where you belong in a race. I'm a little bit more of a pace man, and how the race is going to shape up. I think pace makes a race. Sometimes you just throw the other numbers out. But yeah, it puts you in a group of horses, and if you can't break a barrier, a lot of times you just need things perfectly for the horse. And when you keep trying to run in races where everything has to go right, you lose most of them.
Is it buyers, or do you look at thoroughgraphs or Ragazin?
Buyers are the easiest, most accessible, don't question. But we'll look at both the rags, and as we start looking at stakes and stuff like that, we'll reach out and get other sophisticated numbers and see if there's a balance out there.
Wanted to go back, because as I say, wanted to show some of these horses because there'll be potential going forward as well. Again, going back a little earlier in the meet, August 6th, it's a maiden special weight event. We're going to watch number 4, Honey Graham, win in her career debut, a daughter of Graham Hall, purchased at the OBS March sale earlier this year. Jose Ortiz on board this one. Honey Graham's going to be the number 4 horse here. This was a pretty good debut effort.
It was, and we were a little bit flattered by Ian Wilkes' horse, who came back, who was ended up second here, and she came back and won. She might have been odds on. I'm not sure, but she came back and won. So this is a pretty nice filly. We're actually going to go up to Woodbine next weekend and try her in their debutante. I think the spin away came up a little bit tougher than we wanted, and the days of going from a maiden win to an allowance race are gone, at least this time of the year for 2-year-olds. So we'll test the waters up there and then see what happens.
Concerns when you do that, just from a training aspect, synthetic surface?
She actually, her dam won going 1.25 miles on the synthetic. Okay. She breezed really well when we bought her at OBS on their synthetic racetrack. So by a couple of different measures, she's supposed to handle it.
All right, and I wanted to show one more win finally, going to August 2nd. We're going to look at an allowance option, an optional claimer with the non-winners of 2 other than condition. New York Song, who, boy, this is a new horse this year. Yeah. This made New York Song 3 for 3 in 2017. New York Song going to be the number 8 horse in here. Florent Giraud on board. Just gets up, nose victory at 10-1. But as I say, this is a horse that has had 9 starts throughout the career and is now 3 for 3 in 2017. So turn the corner here with New York Song.
The surface switch. We were dying when we had him, the 2-year-old, to get to the turf, and we never did. It was off the turf a couple of times. And then he had just a bunch of little niggly issues that needed some time off, and the people were great and gave him all the time he needed, and we went right to the turf this time, and that was a race I didn't think we won until they put the number up. I didn't think we had any shot. No point, and it's much better than thinking you won it and walk down there and they don't put your number up. So, but he's a very, very cool little horse.
Yeah, no, it's, as I say, it's a nice season with that one. So, and you mentioned sometimes you have to give them time and whatnot. How important is that to have owners who are cooperative and understand and can kind of play into what you have to do with a horse to get them right?
It's huge. I mean, they just, some horses just need time to grow up. Some horses, you need to take advantage that they're pretty precocious, and their 2-year-old year might be their best year, and you make those judgments together. But there's no question. And a lot of them, if you're not going to give them the time, sometimes you have to find a little bit lower level horse to compete with, and whether that's out of town or a different class of horse that you run here. So it's a balancing act. Certainly horses that might have a future, it's best to be a little patient.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a future here before we shift topics a little bit. Let's talk some more racing, because you have one in on Sunday, a first-time starter. Elena Thina, is that the pronunciation? First-time starter by Escandrea. Being the 7th race coming up on Sunday. Maiden specials at 7 furlongs, which is a tough distance to debut at to begin with, but what are you thinking of Elena Thina on Sunday in the 7th?
She's a half-sister to Calabaca. The owner, same owner, brother. The name is his 2 daughters, Elena and Athena.
There you go.
So very close to Nick's heart. Terrific guy from Detroit. This is a tough race. I mean, 7/8 can be an awkward distance. A lot of times it's not for some of the speedier 2-year-old trainers kind of, let's go 7/8. But there's some very nice pedigrees, pretty expensive fillies in here, and we're supposed to get some weather tomorrow. So Escandrea handled an off racetrack. Calabaca does not. So we'll decide tomorrow or Sunday what we're going to do.
and I'm looking at a nice steady string of workouts underneath. First-time starters, 2-year-olds this time of year. What's the game plan with workouts, and how many works do you put in before you start looking for the, okay, we got the green light now?
You wait for them for the light bulb to go on. I mean, some of them it just takes forever, and you're a half. And some, I get dirt in their face once or twice behind a couple of other horses, and but even that, it's a gallop out after a breeze is pretty significant. She always gallops out real well. She's probably a 2-turn filly down the road, but it's not just fitness. It's how their brains are working, how they're handling company, and one day you just might watch an ordinary half in 49 and change. Go, okay, we're ready.
Do you ever work horses here? Because I've asked trainers I've had in for the last couple of weeks. We're here every morning. We have been for a couple of years, and they're earlier in the morning they're jammed up back here behind us. And I'm always curious as to why Clare Court as compared to the main track or Oklahoma.
Horses are kinder here, and a lot of horses, they can be very, very tough, a little bit rank galloping on the main course. They're constantly turning on this small racetrack. They can't see too far. There's another turn. There's really no other horses passing them, so there are a lot of things that can back off an overly aggressive horse.
So it's just a mental thing to bring them back here. It's a little quieter. And,
exactly.
That's kind of the consensus I've got. But boy, as I say, in the morning they're back there, and I've always wondered what makes them come back here. But it's like the rest of us. Very nice back here.
Yeah, it is.
You're the president of the New York Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. We've had Pat Kelly in here earlier and Rick Schosberg, and one of the things I've asked them, and I'll ask you as well, we talked with Don Little about it, the aftercare issue, which has been notable in the racing industry for the past couple of years. But you've got the Take Two program for the New York Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. Address that a little bit.
Well, the Take Two program we started about 5 years ago, and it's where we sponsor horse shows that offer thoroughbred-only classes. And there are A horse shows. It started, actually, Adele Einhorn, who works for Skidmore and does their horse shows. We started a partnership with her. And she's been here, and Andy Belfiore, who's the executive director of NYTHA, it wouldn't be where we're at. We're almost at 400 horse shows right now.
Nice.
So across from the East Coast to West Coast and all the way down to Florida. It's been a fabulous program. We started basically figuring when we retire horses, they do need a job. A lot of them are very, very adaptable, and they needed a second career. They do better with a second career if they're able. And the fact is, 15 of the 20 horses in the American Horse Show Association Hall of Fame, the Grand Prix Hall of Fame, 15 of the 20 are thoroughbreds. They were the hot ticket item a long time ago, and the warm bloods and the European horses kind of pushed them out. So this is a way of reintroducing them to the horse show world and trying to create a bit of a vacuum that there is a place to go. And it's worked. It's made horses more adoptable. People readily have a home for them to try them on the horse show circuit. And it's just something that we hope continues to grow. And it's the sister program to the Take the Lead program here, where we make it as easy as possible for people who are looking to retire a horse to make it. It's a very, very simple initiative right now. All the T's and dots are already done. They just need to show up and almost point us where the horse is, and we'll find a home for them.
People with more information, just go to the NYTHA website.
Correct.
New York Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association website if you want more information on Take the Lead or the Take Two program. And again, it's a great job to get these horses into a second career.
No question.
Appreciate, Rick, the visit this morning. Obviously, as we've gone through the races, a nice meet for you, a nice stakes win with Diversify, some promising horses going forward. So it's been a great meet. Congratulations. Good luck on the fall.
Thank you so much.
Rick Violette, trainer with, as I say, nice meet up here at Saratoga so far. Some promising runners coming up in the fall as well. We'll take another break. When we come back, John Signor, president here at Capital OTB. We'll do a little recap of the Saratoga meet vis-a-vis Capital OTB and much more right after this. Stay tuned.
No matter what you're craving or when you crave it, we've got plenty of options for you. Whether it's a hearty breakfast, light lunch, or relaxing dinner, our full-service restaurant and bar will satisfy your every taste. The Diamond Club at Embassy Suites, where the world meets in Saratoga.
Nighttime Thoroughbred Racing is back at Capital OTB. Now through Labor Day, Capital OTB will be accepting wagers on nighttime thoroughbred racing from across the country, featuring evening racing from Delmar and Woodbine, and now it's even easier to be part of the action. Simply log on to CapitalOTBBet.com on all your digital devices, or use our newly designed mobile app. So even when the sun goes down, thoroughbred racing continues at CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad. Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
With Saratoga's best outdoor patio, a spacious bar, and plenty of off-street parking, it's the perfect place to meet friends and relax after an exciting day at the track. The Diamond Club at Embassy Suites, where the world meets in Saratoga.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Carry my weight a little.
Welcome back to a brisk Friday morning here, live from the Saratoga backstretch. Racing Across America, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com. And speaking of Capital OTB, happy to be joined now by our president, John Signor. Good morning, John.
Hey, Seth. How you doing?
Very
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Happy to have you here.
Good
Always,
job up here
beginning of the
today.
meet, end of the meet, recap things a little bit as we go through. And it has been, racing-wise, it's been a spectacular meet. We'll continue with watching Gunrunner tomorrow, but what were some of your highlights? I mean, Lady Eli,
Songbird. Seeing Songbird's last race, unfortunately, but what a great champion she is, Lady Eli. Gunrunner, I'm a big fan of Gunrunner. I bet him in the Classic. I bet him last year in the Travers, so I'm a big fan of his. So looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. And just Travers Day was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Funny story. The owners of Dreyfang were here last year, and I said, "Who are these guys?" There was a whole group of them, and I'm like, "Who are these guys?" And suddenly, last year Dreyfang won, and see him down in the winner's circle. So this year, I see him again, and I said, anybody I saw, I said, Dreyfang is not losing this year. So I singled him on every ticket I had. So I figure if they're going to make the trip here, they're not losing.
Yeah, every once in a while you got to do that crystal ball thing. That was the horse Brian and I talked about today.
But Travers Day was a great day. I mean, just unbelievable racing. And the meet's been fantastic. And Naira knows it too. I mean, the weather dictates just how strong the meet's going to be, and the weather's been fantastic. So. And
speaking of Naira, of course, we always appreciate their support. We're in their backyard. We're in their house here. We have the greatest television set in all of horse racing, I contend. But certainly we appreciate Naira and their support.
Yeah, you know what? They're great partners, and they've been really, really great to Capital OTB, and we thank them a lot for that. Chris Kay and Andy Serling, Dave O'Rourke, Steve Travers, Billy McCarthy, Pat McKenna. The list goes on, and Dan Silver has been great. So just really congratulations to them on a fantastic meet. I don't know if it could be run any better, right? I mean, I didn't see any glitches the entire meet. The racing's fantastic. The weather's great. So just kudos to Naira on another fantastic Saratoga meet. And the train keeps going, you know. And now we have a great weekend, and we'll shoot to the Belmont Championship meet, but it's been fantastic up here.
Yeah, it really has been, and again, we certainly, I will reiterate our thanks, because I appreciate being able to come here every morning and have the horses working out behind us.
Obviously they're NYRA allowing us to put our set here and to help promote the track. I mean, we love Saratoga as much as anybody. We're from the Capital Region, and we're happy to help promote it and highlight it and tell people to come up here and enjoy the races and enjoy the track, and we do that every day. So we're happy to do that. We're happy to partner with NYRA on that, and I think it's a great partnership to that respect.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do here every morning, to get people to come up to the track, because this track, as opposed to pretty much every other track in the country, this track, I think, probably develops more fans. You get folks out there in the backyard who clearly are not big racing fans, but I think you cash a couple of tickets, you get pulled in, but you can come here and watch the music, sit out in the backyard, have fun, but then, again, become a racing fan. So we always push, come on up and enjoy the races, but on a rainy day, or if you can't make it up here, you want a couple of races after work, the race book or your local parlor. So how are things been at OTB for the meet?
Good. It's been a very solid meet. Numbers aren't probably as strong as we'd like, but it's been a solid meet. We're going to do, the irony is we're going to do 20% of our business in these 40 days. That's how much the Saratoga meet impacts Capital OTB and the taxpayers we represent. It helps us generate a profit this quarter. We get money back to the counties to help, fund their programs and help keep property taxes down. And that's one of our charges, in addition to supporting and promoting racing. So it's been a great, it's been a strong meet for us. Again, not probably down a little bit, but the numbers are still very strong, and we're going to end up with a very solid meet. So we're happy with that.
Yeah, and again, we appreciate all the folks who came out and went to the parlors, went to the clubhouse racebook, dialed up phone a bet, or played obviously via online, which has become over the past few years more and more important. Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, right, and not everybody can come up here, every day. I mean, you guys, I can't even imagine, the NYRA folks or yourself. I mean, this is probably just one long day for you. It's not even 40 days. It's just like whatever, 24 hours times 40. It's like one long day. It's a Groundhog Day every day up here. But it's great. It's funny. We walked into the track with my buddies on opening day, and we looked at each other and we said, "Summer's over." It's opening day. It's summer's over. So, but we wouldn't want it any other way. That's for sure.
I'll also toss out my thanks and tee you up a little bit, because I get to sit out here in front of the cameras every day along with the other folks here. But the gang behind the scenes is really the integral part of putting on the TV part of the program.
This is, we have a unique asset in the TV station, and we really are fortunate in the Capital Region to have it. No other, there's no other place in the state where you can sit and watch, the programming we have and the racing all day, 24/7. So we're very fortunate in the Capital Region, but everybody's done a terrific job, Seth. You have been a stalwart up here. We appreciate it. You've done a great job. Brian and Mark and Steve Bick and Sully and Mike, some young blood getting into the mix. I like, you got to interject a little young guys into it who love the game. But we're happy. Mark Cusano, everybody's done a great job. In addition, obviously our staff up here, Brian and Mick and Peter and Danny and Landis and the whole gang, Pat and Dino back in Albany. So it doesn't get done without everybody really buying in and doing a great job, and I think everybody has, and I think the results show that we put out a good product, we put out a lot of content, and very happy about that.
Yeah, and I'll toss out my thanks to all of those involved too, and then the people in the parlors and the people at the clubhouse racebook, because during this meet, I think we probably pull in new fans too. People probably bring people to the parlors and whatnot. Hey, let's do a little make a double at Saratoga, and so thanks to everybody. I'm lucky enough to be up here every day, but I'll tip my cap to everybody who's kind of, as I say, at the parlors or manning the phone a bet accounts or whatnot, because they're an integral part of the whole situation.
Yeah, there's worse offices than right here, I would say, right?
It's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it.
A funny story, I was in the paddock, I don't know, like 3/4 of the way through the meet, and I was introduced to, I can't remember his name, but an individual from Keeneland. and he was talking about the Keeneland sales, and he comes up to me, I said, from OTB, he goes, geez, he goes, I should advertise with you guys on the sales. He goes, everybody watches your channel, and it's true. Up here, this is our, we've said it before, this is our major league sport. Saratoga Racetrack is our major leagues. We have all the best trainers, owners, horses, venue. I mean, we wish it would last a little longer, and in some ways we're happy it's over. But it's a great venue, and we're happy that we can play a part.
Yeah, and I will reiterate, because I'm over on the front side every day, and I literally have at least it goes over this, but at least 6 people a day are like, oh man, I love the programming, love the interviews, and how can you beat it? Because we're at the top race meet in the country, and all the biggest names are a golf cart ride away. So over the course of the meet, we talk to all the big names you want.
And it doesn't happen without, we have a board of directors that understands that their charge is to generate money for the counties, and that's why they're on the board and they're representatives of that. But they also understand that we have to promote racing, and that Capital plays a big role in that in upstate New York and during the Saratoga meet, and they support the activities that we take, especially with the shows and the programming and the promotions we do, and they deserve a lot of credit, because without their support, this doesn't happen. So I just want to say thank you to our board of directors as well.
We also participate on the opposite side. We talked about folks advertising with us, but we advertise and help support Andy Serling down there on Thursdays. I mentioned I was there last night for the last show. That one was a lot of fun. Jeremiah and Randy Moss and Jerry Bailey were there. It was a fun edition of the show, and I walked up to Andy afterwards, said great season, and his game plan was, and he reiterated last night, kind of to bring the racetrack to downtown, and over the past few years they have done it successfully, and we're part of that, giving some support.
Yeah, it's Andy and I think John Angelos, who's who kind of got this thing started, friends with Andy. It was a great idea when they started it. I think we saw that it was a great idea right out of the gate. That's why we supported it. Andy's been great to us. Consider Andy a friend, and I was happy, from OTB's standpoint, to support his programming down there. And I think it's grown every year. I mean, you and I, we were down there the first show. I was down there. You're down there every show, but I was down there the first show, and it was mobbed. And he really does. He brings a little excitement on maybe a slower night in the city on a Thursday night, and gets all the big guests, all the big jockeys, trainers, owners. And it's a great show, and it's just it's an extension of this place, right? It's an extension of Saratoga. It's an extension of Naira, kind of the same way we kind of promote it. He's promoting it down there, so we were happy to to sponsor that, and happy to do so in the future.
Yeah, it was again a great season down there. Congratulations to Andy. We should mention. We wrap up here, obviously, on Monday morning, but a couple weeks down the road, speaking of sponsors, Woodbine's been a great sponsor. We'll be back this year. We were last year. We were earlier this year for the Queen's Plate, but in a couple weeks, some morning programming live from Woodbine.
Yeah, and it's some unique things we get to do with our TV station, right? We had a sponsorship with Gulfstream earlier, and we did live programming during the Florida Derby, which was fantastic. I remember 2 years ago we ended up getting Doug O'Neill on, and then went on to win the Florida Derby and then the Kentucky Derby, so that was kind of a good get. But and we were up at the Queen's Plate at Woodbine with great coverage up there. We have a terrific relationship with Woodbine, and we're going back again for the Woodbine Mile. We'll be up there, I think, on Saturday and Sunday doing programming, 2 hours worth of programming, interviewing trainers and jockeys and Woodbine officials and handicappers to promote that. So. And we'll be bringing that obviously live to the Capital Region. So we're happy to do it, and also, we go beyond the Capital Region. Obviously, if you have an account with us, you can watch it online. You can, if you have the app, you can watch our stuff, our shows online. So there's many ways to watch the programming, but that'll be the 16th and 17th of September. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, when we were at Woodbine last year, I had a fellow walk up to me and say, "Hey, I love the programming." I said, "Oh, so you're up from Albany, Saratoga area?" He said, "No, I live in Michigan." So he was watching on the computer.
There's a lot of people. You don't know how many notes we get or emails or Twitter notes that, hey, your streaming's not working, I can't watch the show, and these guys aren't, they're not in the area, they're out of town, they're out of state. So it's, look, anything to grow the sport and promote the sport, we're all for it.
Should also mention, we talked about sponsoring at the Post. We talked about the folks that sponsor us and going up to Woodbine and whatnot. Should also toss in, if we're doing a little recap of the meet, we sponsored the kickoff to EquestriCon, which that event got a lot of good buzz. I think it's going to be a good addition to the Saratoga scene. And we not only sponsored that opening handicapping panel, but showed it here on the network to kind of kick off the 3-day event.
Yeah, no, and again, that's another thing we could do. I hope we played a role in the inaugural EquestriCon, trying to get, promote that. I thought, again, just like Andy's idea was a great idea, I thought the EquestriCon was a great idea. And they're, they have to get a feel for what works up here and what panels work and time and things like that. But the idea in and of itself is a great idea, and we're happy to be a part of that. And hopefully going forward we'll be even a bigger part of that. And like you said, we partnered with Channel 10, who brought their truck down there, and we were able to show the opening panel live, which I thought was great. With some of the best handicappers in the country. I know you sat on a panel as well on some of the media stuff, so that was fantastic. And then don't forget that we started it off the event with the PDJF event that we held at the clubhouse the Wednesday before the meet started. That was a great. Todd Pletcher came down, Abigail Apsett, who got her first win, of course, after she was on the show. Yeah. Javier and Johnny V and the Ortiz brothers came down, had a great response to that. So, beyond just supporting racing and doing and getting money to our counties, we also try to support the charities that are out there. And we did the PDGF. I think we raised $4,000 that day. Last year we raised $5,000. Also in the TU, we do the charity bets where we're raising money for Make-A-Wish and PDJF and Saratoga Warhorse and a bunch of other charities. So we try to, we try to get keep those charities in the public eye so others can, donate and so forth. And just on that note, I mean, to see what's going on down in, Houston and Texas and Louisiana. I mean, we're sitting up here at the greatest racetrack in the world on a beautiful day, and to see what's going on there, it really puts things in perspective.
Absolutely.
So I talked to our marketing guys, and we're going to come up with some kind of promotion to raise money for that charity, the Red Cross or Salvation Army or whatever. But our bettors have always been generous to support the cause, and we're going to do something to raise money for our friends in Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah, I mentioned the same thing on the handicapper support earlier. We're up here and it's as far away as you can get, but boy, you look at the pictures and it's just devastating.
Yeah,
so
it's
thoughts go out to everybody down there. You mentioned the Times Union. I'll toss in. It's been fun. As we have in previous years, our handicappers have faced off with Tim Wilkin and Mike Jarbo. Mike going through some health issues, and it's been fun to see him up in the press box throughout the meet. I'll also toss in, if you follow the Times Union and Mike, who plays the fiddler and uses that as the nickname, they will have the Mike the Fiddler Jarbo race on Monday, race number 2, and so that should be a lot of fun, and we're certainly rooting for Mike, but as has been in the past few years, it's been a lot of fun, that little face-off we've had.
Yeah, it's great. Mike and Tim are great guys, and there is a little competition there too. Let's not kid ourselves. We both want to win. Tim's been knocking my brains in this year, though. But in past years, it's going down to the wire. I mean, they've been up and we closed. I think it's always close. And, I kind of miss seeing Mike. I used to see Mike and Tim over at Ciro's once in a while afterwards, and kind of, we'd bust on each other. But, I see, we miss, I know Mike's got some health issues, and all the best to him. And I know he's a tough guy and a fighter, but I saw that also, that they're going to have the race for him, and as they should,
It'll be a lot of fun on Monday, the second race. All right, so we're wrapping up things here at Saratoga, but let's remind people coming up we close here on Monday. Belmont opens up on Friday. Obviously, there's plenty of racing in between that folks can take advantage of at OTB, but folks also should remember Clubhouse Racebook. NFL kicks off, and that means racing on the big screens down at the clubhouse. So things continue for OTB.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't stop on Monday. We keep chugging along, and the Belmont Championship meet starts on Friday. I think Los Alamitos Thoroughbred in California starts, I think, on the 6th or 7th. Then Santa Anita later in the month. You have Kentucky Downs is starting. Keeneland, Churchill will start again. So the racing keeps chugging along, and I just want to close a little bit by saying thank you to the racing fans and the bettors, right? Because we don't exist without the bettors. The game doesn't exist without the bettors, and we are, as I said earlier, there's nowhere else in the country you can go and get free TV station giving you 24/7, giving this kind of coverage, interviewing all the industry leaders, and it only happens because of the loyalty of our bettors, and we try to do everything we can to give back to our bettors by giving them great content, by giving them what I consider the best online betting product out there. We don't come on here and beat our chests on that, but we would just say compare us to anybody else. We think we have the best site and the best cash rewards, hands down. And without their support, the TV station is not free. This is not a free enterprise. We're not on PBS. We pay for this, and it's an expense that our board and the corporation have absorbed, and because we believe it's the right thing to do to promote racing and to help grow the racing fans and to grow more horse racing, the horse racing public. So we'll continue as long as we get the support of our bettors, and that continues and hopefully grows. We can continue to do these types of things. And thanks very much to our bettors. Again, it doesn't happen without you. And hopefully we'll see you after Monday. I know a bunch of you will be back, but some of you will disappear until next year, but or at least until the Breeders' Cup. But it's been a great meet, and we see a lot of our bettors up here, and it's great to see them. And we'll see everybody back at the clubhouse and at the branches and at the Easy Bets pretty soon. So thanks for everything. And Seth, great job. Congratulations to Naira. And it's been a great meet. And let's close it out with some winners.
Yeah, that's the game plan over the next few days. We'll see what we can do there. John, thanks for the visit. Again, bookended the meet a little at the beginning of the meet, a little recap after, and we'll also touch on, we'll get a Naira recap coming up on Monday. Chris Kay's going to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Getting Chris on opening day and then the last day, that's great. So that'll be great. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
We'll talk to him right on this show at about 10 o'clock on Monday morning. So looking forward to that recap from the Naira perspective. John, again, thanks a lot.
Great job, Seth. Good
Thanks.
job. Thanks.
All right, we're going to wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America this Friday morning. Really appreciate your stopping by. Don't forget, it is a Bounty Bet Friday. If you play the late pick 4 at Saratoga through your Capital OTB Bet account, you're in, and you get a chance to pick the Bounty. Again, if you're the lone handicapper to pull it down, and you're only playing against Capital OTB bettors, if you're the lone person, you pull down the Bounty. If there are multiples, you each get a part of the consolation. All you got to do, play the late pick 4 today. Clubhouse Racebook Saturday and Sunday. Trifecta Saturday coming up, 711 Central Avenue in Albany, and a Naira pick 4 Sunday, all at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. More on the promotions and events at the website, capitalotb.com. All right, I'll wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America. Enjoy the races this afternoon. Let's all cash a few tickets. Back here tomorrow morning at 9 for the handicapper support. 10 o'clock, Marcusano and Down the Stretch. We'll see you then.
You've been watching Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America has been brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border. And the new Capital OTB mobile app. Wager anytime, any place, anywhere. Download it free from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.